Yo, 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 everybody. The National is over. It is in the books. It was crazy. I learned some insane things that are happening in the hobby. And as always, I want to share with you guys all about those things as well as the big auctions that are this week here on Across the Hobby. Guys, it was so good to meet so many of you over the course of the last 4 or 5 days. It's good to be home though, and it's where I like to be, but it's always good once a year to be able to spend some time with you guys there. Listen, for today's show, here's what's on the agenda. Number one, I'm going to talk about what was awesome about the National. Then I'm going to talk about what was not awesome about the National. Then I'm going to tell about those things that I learned that I think are legitimately insane and things that I think are worth thinking about right now. And then we'll conclude with talking about the biggest auctions from last week. Actually, just one big auction from last week, a real learning that I think is pertinent to consider, as well as then some of the biggest auctions this week, which includes, actually, you might not realize it, but the Golden Elite ends this week, which is a huge deal. And because of all the things that are going on, I legitimately am going to try to keep this to an hour. So I've said that before. I've never succeeded, but there's always a first time for everything. Let's go. Okay, so let's start with what was awesome about the National. First off, I think it's important to realize that when things are as positive as things are right now in the hobby, it's pretty hard to be negative, even for people who often are. There were so many people. There were so many. Prices were high because people were spending so much money. This felt more like the 2019 National, where just everybody felt good, everybody felt positive. And not that it's always going to stay that way. Not that maybe not everybody feels that way, but that is what I experienced in the different people who I talked to. There was a really positive energy. Everybody was happy. It was good to see people, and it was just a happening, crazy place. From when I got there on Wednesday to when I left on Saturday, it was always insane. And there is something that's mostly good, but there's something bad about that too. And we'll get into that and the what is not awesome about the National here in just a minute. I want to say this though, above all else. Okay, so I've gone to 5 Nationals now. I have yet to buy a card, not one. I don't think I've ever bought a card at the National. I had a trade a couple of years ago that was really cool, or a few years ago, but I've never bought a card. And it's because, and I know that sounds crazy. It's for 2 main reasons. One is I'm not there to buy cards. I'm there to see people. And the National is the best place to do that in all of sports cards because it's the place that almost everybody goes. So that's number one. Number two is that there's not a lot of stuff that I really want that's at the National. There are tons of cards that I would want, but my collection, the way that I collect at this point, I don't really buy stuff unless I want to hold it for a really, really long time. I'm not a flipper. That's not how I roll. I'm not just trying to make money on stuff. I'm trying to buy stuff for my collection, and there's just not a lot of stuff for me. So that's one thing that is not great in terms of me and collecting. With that said, it is so awesome to go and to be in a place where there are people who speak your language. We talked about this last week on Across the Hobby. It is so good to go see the people that you engage with regularly in the hobby. And this is the best place to do that. And I get to do that with hundreds of you. And it was awesome. That is why the best thing about the National, literally every year that I have been, is my number 3 point here. It is the people. It is the vendors who you work with on a regular basis. It is your friends who you talk to on a regular basis. It is everybody. It is the people who watch this show. As you might know, based on the lack of production quality that this show has, this is not the most popular card show on YouTube. Basically, this show does everything that you're not supposed to do. It has no production quality. It's insanely long. And there's all sorts of like stumbling and fumbling and other issues. The thing that you guys were very clear with me on, though, and I really appreciate this, is that you like it. It was awesome. For me, it was so cool. I had so many people who stopped me, and I assume when people stop me that they're stopping me for the reels on Instagram that I do on my Instagram account at the Real 27 guy. Because I've got a whole lot more followers there than I have here, right? About 20 times the number of followers there that I have here. But so many people stopped me and said, like, when I say so many, like 15 people, maybe 20 people stopped me, and they then who said things like this. Here's some things. Um, Adam, I love your YouTube. I love Across the Hobby. I love just listening to you tell stories about the history of cards and why they're interesting and things that maybe a lot of other people don't know. Because the thing that's clear is that although there's lots of people doing card content and there's lots of enthusiasm for cards, especially as they increase in value, because everybody loves buying things that increase in value, there's definitely still a dearth of people talking about why cards matter or why they're collectible. And that's really the niche that I've sort of decided to try to fill in the hobby, right? Like that's what I've done over the years, and that's what I'm going to keep doing, because I think people love it. And so for those of you, like I said, 15, maybe 20 people who stopped me to say, hey, I love the YouTube. I joked with people. I joked with a few people. Why? Like, there's got to be like, what, 5 people who watch this show? And people were like, well, if there's only 5 people who watch the show, then I'm one of them. It's obviously not just 5, but you were so positive, and I just want to say that. Okay, I'm gonna miss 100 things here. I also want to tell a few other quick stories before I forget. I had a gentleman approach me. This is super meaningful to me. I had a gentleman approach me in the lobby one day, and he started to, he sort of put his hand on my arm, and he looked at me, and he started to try to talk, and I could tell immediately that he had a stuttering issue. And he just introduced himself to me, and we talked for probably 3 minutes. But he thanked me for something that I said in one of my reels. I did a reel where I said 10 things you probably don't know about me. And to have somebody stop me like that and to thank me like that, man, it made me feel really good. I had multiple families stop me and say, thank you for doing content that is family appropriate. And there's a lot of content here in the space that is family appropriate. Unfortunately, there's a lot that isn't too. There's a lot that's really good, but just is like, pretty PG-13 or R-rated with the language. And so, you'll always get that from me. And so I wanted to thank those people who came up and said thank you, but especially, I think his name was Brian, the gentleman who had the stuttering thing. That was really interesting. That was really cool to me. That was a really cool moment to me. And the families who came up, the people who just came up to say hi, the people who had specific things to say or to comment on, they liked, like, thank you guys for that. That little bit of positive reinforcement means a lot more than you might guess. Sometimes you feel like you're just talking into the void. You can see, you can sort of see the numbers, and you're like, man, like the average one of these shows gets like, it's not a crazy amount, but it's like 250 to 300 hours of watch time. And I'm always like, man, how are people watching this much? But there's only a few comments, or there's only a few likes. And it's like, how is that happening? To have them in person was pretty cool. But to have them in the comments here is also really cool. So please do that if you are ever so inclined, especially if you ever have questions. Feel free to ask anything. There's no dumb questions. I will not take any of your questions as dumb. And although I don't get to answer everything on my Instagram, just because there's a lot of comments and questions on there, I will always try to get to these ones here on YouTube. Okay, let's talk about why the National is not awesome. I know I'm forgetting a bunch of things, but let's talk about why the National was not awesome. Okay, and why it's generally not awesome. So I can never figure out where I'm going with the National. You get turned around so fast, and it's so hard to just place yourself. There's not just one big room. For those of you who haven't been there to Chicago, you basically got like several big rooms, and it's really hard to orient yourself. It's hard to sort of figure out like which of the 4 corners of the main room you're in sometimes. And especially based on where you came in, or, like you get turned around, or you like go to the bathroom and come out, and you're like, where am I? And I know that sounds crazy, but everything just looks the same. And I know that I have a direction issue. I definitely am like awful with directions. I always have been. But like I heard so many people talking about this, and it is like this every year. I think Cleveland's generally a lot easier than Chicago is. But I thought that was a massive issue. The more significant problem to me, though, is what it was like upstairs at this National. And I can't like overstate what I'm about to say, but like I couldn't stand being up there. I only went up there once, and it may be that the timing was just really poor. But like I was like, how do I get into one of these rows? Like there were like I think there were 3 or 4 long rows of tables, and there was no breaks within them. It was just a giant long row. And the rows just didn't have a lot of space between them so that you could just walk on through. In general, there was basically enough space where you could have one person looking at these tables, one person looking at these tables, and then not quite enough room for 2 people to walk through. It's more like room for one person to walk through. The problem is that although there's one person looking here and one person looking here, most of these people have backpacks on, which sort of like cuts into the space some more. So you basically only have single file down a row, maybe a little bit more space than that. And then you've got people going both directions, people stopping, people trying to go opposite ways. I couldn't even figure out how to get in onto one of these rows. Like I couldn't even figure out how to walk in to one of the rows. But I have a couple of friends that were upstairs, and I wanted to see them. And so I was like, I'm going to try this. And I started walking down this row, and about 30 seconds in, I knew I had made an absolutely terrible decision because I'm not a generally claustrophobic person. I know what that sensation feels like a little bit, but I'm usually fine. I was like, I can't go anywhere. At one point, this kid behind me, I'm really tall. I think some of you realized that during the show. I'm 6'4". I really am like 6'4", 235. Like I'm a big guy. I know that really shocked some of you, so I'm just gonna say it out loud. Like I am 6'4", 235. It's true. So I can see what's going on ahead, maybe better than the vast majority of people. But this one guy behind me is like, "Hey, I'm trying to get through," and I was like, dude, everyone is just trying to get through. There's no place to stop at any of these tables. There's nowhere to go. I started having thoughts like, is this a situation where you're going to have people like trampled to death? And I know that's extreme. I wasn't actually thinking, is someone going to die here? But I really was like, this is not good. This is not safe. This isn't good for the vendors. The vendors had a little bit more space behind where they were, where they just like have a sitting spot. But like, and I'm sure that most of them did unbelievable business because they always had people at their tables. If there was a spot to stop, people were stopping and just staying there. But this was a massive problem. Like, and especially because on either side of this like block of tables, when I say block, like I'm talking about like, I don't know if it was 100 yards or 80 yards or whatever, but like these blocks of these rows of tables, there was space on either side, and you could have naturally broken them out. Even like a couple of feet would have made such a dramatic difference. And then spaced them that way too, it would have made a dramatic difference. It would have changed the whole thing. And I'm not sure why they couldn't do that. People will always give excuses like, well, this wasn't up to code or this or that, and so we couldn't do this. I'm not sure. What I am sure of is there was lots of space around the block of tables. And I don't know why they did what they did, but this is something that they missed on in planning. In general, it got so busy everywhere that if your main thing was just looking at tables and talking to people who were behind counters, you were going to have a hard time doing that. And for somebody like me, where I'm like talking to a lot of different people who I'm seeing and sort of like wanting to stop and talk to them, there were times where it was like, there's nowhere to go. Like we can't actually talk. We have to walk and we have to talk at the same time. And you can see me putting my hands like this because I just got used to just like standing up straight and walking like this sort of for a second, because it was like you're almost like fish, just you won't got this little narrow pathway and you have to do it. So that was a tremendous amount of anxiety, and it was too bad too, because like I said, I never got to see some of my good friends who were upstairs. I started to tell you guys about how I walked into that row. I figure it took somewhere between like 8 and 10 minutes, literally just to walk from one side to the next. And then when I got to the end, I looked back and I was like, do I have to go down one of the other rows to get back? Because I don't want to do that. I just walked around the perimeter of it though. And you can walk around the perimeter of it. The problem is you have to like, as planners, they have to be able to protect the backside of where the vendors are as well as the front side. And it is a lot. There's a lot of planning that goes into this. It is an incredible endeavor. but it was insane. So, all right, we're 15 minutes in. I haven't even gotten to some of the main learnings. I want to talk about some of those main learnings now before we get into the big auctions that are this week, and then we'll do that. So I teased you guys at the beginning and said, here's some insane things that I learned. And what I would ask you guys to do is to consider this before I get into this. So I'm going to talk about a few things here. But if you were to guess, what do you believe is the thing that the topic of conversation that dominated the National? What's the thing that most people wanted to talk about? So think about it for a second, and I'm just going to tell you. Okay. So the conversation that absolutely dominated the National, from my perspective, maybe I'm sure this isn't the case for everyone. Repacks. Repacks completely dominated the National. And I want to talk about why and some of those learnings in a major way. And some of the things that I'm really concerned about, but also I'm in a very much like a holding pattern of watching it just as an observer. But there's some things that I'm thoughtful about, and I'm thinking about in a way where I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that. I would also say, as we get into the repacks, like I was creating repacks in a very informal one-on-one way, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago. And so this is something that's existed for a long time. Grab bags, repacks. There's lots of parts of this that have changed, and there's things that I learned about this at the show that are really interesting. So, and they have a great impact on the whole of the market, on how the whole of the market works together. And again, I want to talk about all this. And I'm going to do it in a super disorganized way because that's how my mind goes. But I think I'll say some things that I think might be interesting to some of you guys. And again, would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. A little bit, hear if you think I'm crazy or hear how concerned you are. I'm just going to say, like, I'll start with, I haven't sort of defined any sort of feelings around like what exactly I feel, what exactly my opinions are, but I have some things that I am concerned about and some things that I think are really important to understand. Okay, so with that said, you have repacks that are like one-off repacks. Somebody is putting together a list of a group of cards with average values, and they're saying, come open my repack, pick a number. Some of them are doing it physically. They're saying pick a number or whatever, pick a thing, and then it's being opened there on a live stream, and then the cards are being sent to them. There are also different ones that they're doing that are really cool, where you're digitally opening a repack, and there's so many things to this. Okay, so there's repacks that are relatively low dollar. There are repacks that are really expensive, that are thousands of dollars, and the ones, some of the ones that are digital, where you're just clicking a button and seeing it pop up, there's some really cool technology behind some of those that are basically ensuring that nobody can know what's in the pack beforehand. There's actually ones where you can go in and you can select the pack, and the pack is then pulled out and then replaced with another one. And there's all sorts of different formats to this. One of the things that I learned was that some of these repacks are being purchased back, and you probably heard this because this has been shared in other public places. Some of these repacks, the cards are being bought back by the repackers 90% of the time, and that's really interesting to think about. And so we're gonna spend probably another 10 minutes on this. So I'm going to take some time on this part of it. Imagine you're the repacker, and you basically have, and let's say it's the most transparent repack possible. Let's say there's 30 packs out there that you can choose from, and let's say there's 100 packs out there to choose from, and of the 100 cards that are in the packs, you can see all of them. So you can see all of them. You can see their values as well. Well, what's really interesting is once somebody has bought that repack, there's a almost 90% chance that they're going to sell the thing back to the repacker. They're already spending a huge amount of money, and then they're going and you can't always do an estimated value on all 100 cards because there's no quick way to sort of like drop that into Excel. There's no easy way to sort of understand what the total value is. But if you just sort of eyeball it and look at the prices, or you take some time to sort of add it up, you can generally see like how much expected value there is out of these repacks. That, of course, is assuming that the number that is being presented is an accurate number. But then again, like I said, 90% of the time, these cards are being sold back. So as soon as the repacker sells you the cards or sells you the pack, you are getting something. You're likely to lose money. That's how packs work, right? Again, the expected value is the average value you would get back out of a pack. So let's say the 100 packs, let's say they each cost $100. That's 10 grand total that's being paid. Let's say that the $10,000 worth of packs that are being sold have like an expected value of like $7,000. Was that really $7,000? Look at the cards. Are they really selling for that? That's the first question that I think you need to ask is like, is it real? Is it really actually that valuable? And we're going to get into some really interesting learnings about that in a second. That's the first question. But then the second question is, once you get your cards, are they cards that you're going to want? This whole thing is just obviously a massive gamble, which some people don't have any problem with. And that's something that you probably already know, right? It's just a gamble. It's just that people want to gamble, and this is how they get their dopamine hit. But like the repacker is making money on that $10,000 to a total of $7,000 across all 100 packs. But then almost 90% of the time, the cards are immediately going back in. And so you're having this really quick, like the repacker gets to sell those cards on average like 7 to 10 times. And that's just happening over and over and over again. And so they don't have to do any work in the meantime either. The cards are literally just sitting there. They want you to sell the cards back. They do. And so you're talking about like on average, somebody walks in, buys the repack, gets that whatever percentage back is. Let's say it's 70%. It might be more or less than that. Depends. And then they're getting 90% of that. Like that is, again, that's just straight up gambling. And I wonder how many of the cards that are in those repacks are cards that people actually want. So I'd start there. So then the next idea, and I sort of hinted to this, is hold on one. Sorry about that. Had to go just real quick. Okay, this next part is the part that has my mind really considering some things that we could go get into this for a long time, but I think I'll present some ideas that maybe you've thought about before, maybe you haven't, but I think I really think that these things are worth considering. So, historically speaking, the value of a card is what somebody's willing to pay for it. But that changes as time goes by based on different factors. When people started hoarding cards and protecting the value of cards by buying lots of them, it's not so much about what it's worth because somebody wants to own it. It sort of adds a different factor, like adds a different layer to what makes a card worth something. And then we have funds, right? We have like funds that are investing in cards for the long term. That has nothing to do with whether a person actually wants to own it. It just has to do with like another entity believing in its investment value. And again, that sort of hoarding thing that can influence values of cards, right? And so we're now 2 steps removed from like a value just being what somebody would pay for a card. Now it's, what's a fund willing to do? And is there anyone who's hoarding these things? And so that has a dramatic influence on card values. But this repack thing that, again, is not new, but I've never realized how dramatically it influences the economy of cards. I saw Ben Burrows post on his Twitter. He said something like, "Man, I didn't realize, like how the secondary market, like I don't want to say the whole secondary market would completely collapse, but I sort of wonder about that." And I do feel like there are maybe I'm wrong in saying a lot of cards, maybe I should say all cards, but I do feel like there's a lot of cards that are highly dependent on the repacks for having value, and that's even truer today than it was like a couple of months ago. I heard a rumor, and I tried to substantiate it last night, but I couldn't figure it out quickly enough. I heard a rumor that there were people at the show who were looking at PSA's website, and PSA's website, I guess I think it's just if you're signed into the app. I'm not 100% sure about this, but I believe since they're now going to do repacks, that there was you could look up a slab on the PSA website, like by entering the code in, and then you would see a price that PSA was willing to spend on that slab. Because now PSA is a buyer. The grader is now a buyer. I personally don't have any issue with that. I don't. If they're buying a card on the secondary market, especially, that's fine. Or if they are willing to offer you something right after your card is graded, I'm also fine with that. There is a little conflict of interest because what if there was the potential, if their right hand could see what their left hand's doing, what if they were to say, hey, let's grade this card a 9, and then after it, it's bought back by PSA, then they regrade it a 10. There's some significant conflict of interest there that is worth considering. Okay, that's worth considering. But going back now, like there were people walking around the store or around the national, like looking at what prices things were PSA was willing to pay, and they were literally buying cards off of tables and walking them to PSA. And boy, is that interesting. The reason I'm thinking about this, again, I'm trying to develop my own thoughts around this, but I'm thinking about the economy of all of this and how it works. It's becoming a financial system. And the repack part of it is a significant part of it, as Ben talked about. And these cards that are being purchased for the intent of placing them in a repack have a price that is affixed to them, and that price is paid out 90% by the repackers in some case, or maybe less in other cases. But the question that I'm sort of wondering is, does it matter how much people are willing to pay so that they can have the card in their collection? Does that matter? I have to feel like it's similar to when the U.S. Treasury, which used to be tied to gold, a gold and silver reserve, like cash was actually, you own this percentage of our gold, you own this percentage of our silver. At some point, and it wasn't that long ago, I think it was the 70s or the 60s, maybe before that, maybe way before that. But at some point they say, we're not going to tie to silver and gold anymore. A dollar is just worth a dollar because it's from the United States government, United States Treasury. It sort of feels like that, where like there's like this jump that we need to take. Like something is on a repack site, it has a value, they're willing to pay that 90%. That's what the value is. Maybe that's it. Maybe I just need to listen to that, and I need to just go, okay, cool, we're good. I'm just gonna trust in that. And maybe that's the right answer because the economy is headed that way, and maybe it's mature enough that we can just do that. Is there a part of me though that's like, hey, this is just a giant house of cards? No pun intended. There's part of me that wonders that. The other part of this that I think is connected, that's really interesting to think about, is this. And this is totally different. This is a totally different topic, but there might be an intersection here that's really interesting. So the part that is potentially connected is that auction houses fees and percentages continue to decrease. My first engagement or my first moment with an auction house, and follow me to the punchline here, was about 7 years ago, and they weren't willing to give up any of the buyer's premium, and they were requiring that I pay 8% of the bid price. This wasn't on a card; it was on a memorabilia deal, but I was helping somebody else out. But that basically means if somebody bids 100, then they were going to pay 120, and I was only going to get 92. And my math's good enough to go, gosh, you're taking a fourth of what somebody's paying, so that I can sell the item through you. Like that feels like a lot. Nearly a fourth is a lot. And today that number is shrunk. And you're probably sitting there going, well, that's a good thing, Adam. Don't complain about that. But I do think I should complain about this. And I do think I think I should complain about it, not from the perspective of what is the auction house making, but I'm nervous about what that means, again, for the integrity of the comp system, of our understanding of values. Because people, 99, like some huge percentage of people in our market are good. They are not going to do bad things. I believe that. There are definitely people in our hobby, though, that are looking for ways, legal or not legal, honest or not honest, to try to get a tremendous advantage. And if we have repacks that sort of, people just, like, I think casually use the words like prop up the whole, secondary market. Again, I don't think it's that clear, but I think it's worth it. That's probably, it's not perfect language, but you've seen my word vomit for the last 10 minutes to know that this is a hard thing to describe. But hopefully it sort of made sense. Hopefully, go back and listen to it again and see if you can feel what I'm throwing down. I think you will. But so you have that, the secondary market, and the repacks, and how that sort of changes the values on cards. Because again, as long as they're willing to pay it back or buy it back at 90%, isn't that what it's worth? But their main intent is to sell the repack, isn't it? So is it really worth that? Like, those are real things. Does there need to be an end buyer? Does there need to be somebody who wants to own the card? Is it telling that 90% of the time the card gets bought back directly by the repacker? All those things are important. And then in the middle of it, you have this shrinking percentage that auction houses and consignment companies are charging to get your cards. Like, it's there's a fight there, right? People are fighting to try to get cards. And the reason that that's a big problem, and I've left you hanging now for at least 3 minutes, the reason that is a huge, huge worry for me, again, shrinking rates, huge worry, is because it doesn't, the smaller the rate, the less effectively that rate prevents somebody from buying a comp. What is buying a comp? It's when person A puts a card up on a marketplace, and person B, who's person A's friend, helps them bid the item up. And then at the end of the auction, person B buys the card. And in the process of buying the card, person A has to pay now a smaller and smaller percentage to keep their card. So why is that bad? Well, it's bad because people will use that price as a real price for what the card is worth. And if someone can deceive you, someone can say, hey, this card sold for this much over here, this is just what it sells for, then there's a reason to buy that comp. Let's put some real numbers to this. So let's say that somebody has a card that's worth $100,000. And it's genuinely worth $100,000. And let's say they want it to be worth $200,000. No, let's do a smaller number so that people, like, it really makes sense to people. Let's say that I've got a card that's worth 10 grand, and I want this card to be perceived as being worth $15,000. And let's say that I'm able to work it out with an auction house where I only need to pay, let's say, 3%. Now, that's not being stated publicly, and I'm not saying anyone's doing that off the side either, but let's just say it's 3%. Let's say that I list that card and it starts going up for bid, and everybody sort of believes in the market it's worth $10,000. I'm person A. Say I call my friend, person B, and I say, listen, this card's up right now. I really want to see it sell for a lot. And then I'll even call person C. I'm like, and we get 3 of us together and we're like, listen, let's figure out how to get this thing as high as we can. And it's a really rare card. And it does, by the way, it doesn't need to be a really rare card. It can be a very common card in high grade. It could be anything. Let's say that I go out and I'm like, okay, let's you guys go bid. So it hits 10,000, which is what we were thinking it would hit. And then B and C go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And it hits 15,000. Now at this point, B and C are both like, okay, we're out. One of two things is going to happen. Either they're going to win it. Let's say C is the high bidder. Either C is going to win it, or what's the other option? Somebody else comes in and actually bids over it. If somebody else comes in and bids over it, great. Person A, me, I'm like, yay, I got all my money. This is great. This is wonderful. I made all this money. What if nobody outbids them, though? Okay, well, now if the percentage is only 3%, then I basically have to pay 3% of $15,000. I think it's $450. I think, maybe I'm wrong. Mental math's not good on a show like this. I pay $450, and now the world goes, oh, I guess it's worth $15,000. Then let's say I have multiple copies. Let's say I have other things that are like this. Then the marketplace adjusts around something that just happened because I have bought a comp. And how does that like influence repacks? How does that influence repacks? Well, don't you think that people who are repacking also want to see those cards that are like the key cards, the key hits? Do you think they want to see those high? And how easy is it now to go into the public markets as the rates are decreasing to sort of substantiate what those are? Especially if you're making 30% over here on the repacks or whatever the percentage is, plus the 10% every time, and they just keep reselling and reselling and reselling. Does it provide an opportunity? There's this thing called the fraud triangle, right? The part of the fraud triangle is opportunity. Do they have an opportunity to just go in and very easily manipulate the market on these sales that are happening at auction to get people to keep buying their repacks? Again, I am not saying that is happening. I am not saying that I know anything about this. I'm saying from where I sit, it makes me nervous that this gambling apparatus that people really love, that people are just sort of believing the prices in, that this could be manipulated. I'm nervous about that. And it's something that I'm not a regulation guy. And from my political perspective, I am not a regulation guy at all. That's not who I am. Okay. I think regulation in a lot of cases ruins a lot of things. It makes things impossible. And I was here for the beginning of Sarbanes-Oxley, right after Enron. That's when I entered the world of accounting. There's things where it's like, gosh, this sucks. And the thing is, people will eventually sort of like, regulation sort of like people figure out ways around it. It becomes so cumbersome that it's impossible to do business. There's lots of things about this that are really difficult, but I'm just saying, as I look at the combination of really low auction rates, and as I look at, the want to do to like how fantastic the repack system has become, how easy it is to take part in, the sell back, the whole thing has become as automated as it is, and it's a wonderful money making thing. I've said this for literally years. Repacking has to be the easiest way to make a ton of money in this hobby, and I've thought that for a really long time. You could start it tomorrow. I said to Jeremy Lee at the show, I was like, you and I could start this. Like, we could start a simple one that didn't even take high tech, where we could make so much money, and I have no doubt about it. But when you put all of those things together, there's a nervousness for me. There's a cautiousness in me where I'm like, man, I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm nervous. I'm nervous that we'll totally adopt it. But then again, my comparison to our financial system, I think, is apt here. Sometimes that's what you have to do. Sometimes the market or the sometimes the what's the word that I'm thinking of? The economy is just in a place where it's required to do this, but it's something that I think we should watch carefully. Okay, I took 40 minutes on this intro with the National and these things that I learned. The only other thing I wanted to say here was that money was absolutely flying around at the National in a way that I've never seen. You may have seen the alt gave out nearly $5 million in cash. I asked Leo beforehand. I said, how much cash you guys taking? Because I knew it was going to be just a freaking ton of money. And he messaged back, I can't tell you, Adam. Like, that's okay. I understand. But it was over 5 million, or it was close to 5 million. And it was always going to be a ton of money. And kudos to alt, because other places may need to adapt for these big card shows. How much money will be given out in the 2026 National in cash? It's worth thinking about. All right, let's dive in now. You've been looking at my face for almost 40 minutes. Forgive me for that. Should have had that thing on podcast. A ton of you asked whether I'm going to keep going with the basketball card podcast. I think this is the place to do it. I'm not sure, when or if I'll do more episodes. There are some things I like more about the podcast in general. I like just thinking and not having to look here at the camera. But I know that it would be nice to listen to a lot of this. I might even put this first 40 minutes up on the podcast, actually. But I'm going to jump in now to the biggest auctions this week and we will fly through these because somehow I'm going to need to do this in 20 minutes. Is that possible? Nope, it is not even close to possible. I said to you last week, make sure you are watching the biggest auctions because there's going to be some that sell for a really good price. This is number one right here. All right. So this is the 2014 Kobe Bryant. It is only in an 8, but holy smokes, this is a great deal. I think this is a great deal. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you'll disagree. We've seen some of these, some other copies of other Kobe's sell recently. I think this 2014 and a PSA 9 sold for, I think, was it 60,000 or something. I think in an 8, this was a great deal. And I don't think, here's the thing. I didn't even know this was ending. I had a friend post it on his Instagram and he's like, hey, check out what this card sold for. And he was thinking of it as a really high number. I think it would have sold for more if people knew that it was up. I don't think people knew it was up because the national was happening. And as I say every year, and I will say this forever to you guys, you always want to be thinking about whether a lot of people are watching an auction because that provides opportunity. People don't want to hear that, but it's true. If there's a ton of auctions ending the same night, sometimes the same happens. Sometimes a bunch of cards end up selling all at the same time, the same kind of card, and it ends up being a really bad thing. Sometimes it ends up being a really good thing. But the thing that is for certain is when an auction, a giant auction, is ending during the national, some main bidders may not see it. And I suspect that happened here. So it's worth considering. Also wanted to give a shout out real quick. It was fantastic. This is my Instagram right here. It's fantastic. The Beckett guys asked me to come talk about a couple of my biggest Michael Jordan cards that I had with me. That was really fun to do. I got to hang out. This was awesome. This Jordan card right here. I'll take my mouse away, but the 97 jersey autograph. I've seen 1 or 2 of these in hand in the past. I think just one. It might have been the same copy, but it was, I think I saw it twice. It was a white piece of jersey, though. This is the, in my opinion, I think this is the best basketball card ever made. And there aren't that many that look like this one. This one is at Golden. Is not determined yet. I don't believe whether this will actually go to auction, but they have it at their booth. They recently got it graded for on behalf of somebody else. It had been, and I saw it. I saw a picture of it in a screw down. A couple of people showed it to me over at the Golden booth in a screw down. I hope that hits auction. It will be one of the biggest auctions of all time if it does. I think there's a pretty good chance it'll just be a private sale, but we're going to root for it to be an auction. I'm not sure. I got to see the maybe the best Mickey Mantle. My face is hiding it a little bit here, but one of the best Mickey Mantle cards in the world. 1952 tops, 5.5 autograph. Really cool to see that in hand and be able to like be part of that. And that was at the Heritage booth. The Heritage booth was insane. And the best part about it is something that doesn't even matter right now. They have this incredible collection right now of actually there's another part that certainly you could say is the best part, and we will get there in a moment. But the thing that I think I didn't know about coming in was they've recently acquired this giant autograph collection of this guy put together like autograph baseball cards from 1951 Bowman throughout like the next, I don't know how many years, and they're all autographed. And so he's got a 52 tops mantle and it's autographed, but it's autographed back in like 1952, 1953, very early on. It is before Mantle developed like that iconic like little loopy half circle M thing that he has on both of the M's. He didn't have that. And so it is really, really cool to see that on that card. But that's not even posted here. This is another one. This is another 5.5. That was awesome. And then the last thing, and man, I can't skip by this. This is the best basketball card I've ever held in hand. The dual logoman auto, the only dual logoman auto of Kobe and MJ, with MJ featuring his 50th anniversary logoman. I had so many people who wanted to talk to me about this. This is one of the conversations of the national. How much is that card going to sell for a Heritage? How much is it going to sell for a Heritage? And I think it really like tests I say a couple things. I think it really tests the limits. There's a lot of cards where I'm like, could I go get that? Like I might be able to go get that if I was to sell X, Y, and Z. I have no chance of getting that card. Like none. It's worth more than my whole collection is. It's worth more than almost any collection is. It is, and we know that because it's already at $3.5 million and it's got a long time left. And it's like, well, it shouldn't be worth that much, or but there's just not a lot of cards like this, right? It's the only one of those two. Those are the two most collected players in the hobby, like ever. Literally. Some people are gonna be like, no, Adam, LeBron's number 2. And based on some volume numbers, I guess maybe, but I just think that's insane. Like, Kobe's more collected than LeBron is. Sorry, LeBron guys. I like LeBron too. Kobe's got more collectors, more people who really want to own his cards. I don't actually think it's very close. I think LeBron's 3rd. I think Steph's 4th. I have no idea who's 5th. Those are the top 4. I think LeBron might be closer to Steph than he is to Kobe. I don't think it's anywhere close. With that said, that is the gold logoman on the MJ. That is the logoman from the 75th anniversary. That is incredible. And to have held it in hand and do a little bit of just a little bit of content for the guys at Heritage, to me, is an absolute honor. Like, let me just say, I literally have my dream job. That I got to go to National and they were like, hey, would you do this? Like, yes, I will do this every time. I will do all of the videos on these types of cards for you guys. And I'm grateful for those relationships, guys, and that I got to do that. It was so cool. Although, as I went back to the Heritage booth, I was following somebody, and there was a guard there. It was a lady, and she like stepped in front of me. And she's like, no, no, no. And I was like, I'm coming back. They're having me do content. And she's like, and they're like, yeah, let him through. Like, they're so serious about it, and they have to be. Why? Because millions of dollars are out there. They can't just let people in. But to have held it in my hand and done the content and told the story, man, it's so cool. And I'd love to do a lot more. And it's fantastic to talk about it on here. It's fun to finally see my buddy Mike Gio. First time I met him in person. He's one of the guys who's like, you can't be 6'4". You got to be like 5'10". Nope. So anyway, guys, it was a blast. And it was fun to do these things. And we're at 46 minutes. Okay, let's jump into first MC Sports Cards. MC Sports Cards does not have their weekly auction ending tonight. What they do still have is a ton of ultra high-end items ending this week. You just saw 4 huge Topps Dynasty cards. Everybody loves this. Dennis Rodman is one of the coolest looking autographed cards ever. Him fully extended that first year of 1-in-1, those autographs in the big paint pens. Everybody loves them. People say, I don't love paint pens. Okay, then you probably don't like 1-in-1, but you do. I know you do, because, man, they're some of the most popular autographs of all time. And this Dennis Rodman right here, the Ultra Platinum from 97, his first serial numbered Ultra Platinum parallel. You love the image of Rodman on here. It's super iconic. Very cool. Everybody loves it. I'm going to move myself back over to here. A lot of huge stuff ending this week on MC. Wow, look, a golden touch in the regular card saver. Don't see that every day. That's crazy. So that's everything over $1,000 ending this week at MC. And then actually, that's right. I forgot this. So if you guys remember last week, I was like, why in the world does Fanatics Collect not show their Sunday auction ending on Sunday? I was like, could they have moved it back for the National? They did move it back for the National. I'm not sure you guys knew that, but they moved it back for the National. So we've got SGA, his out of 20, his first off the line. I personally do not think about this being his first off the line. I think about this being his sweet holofoil version of this card. This card right here is so much better looking than his regular card out of 99. It is not even close. It is night and day. I will hold to this forever. You put the 2 cards in front of me and you say, hey, this 1 out of 99 sells for more money, even though there's 5 times as many of them. And even though it doesn't look nearly as good, and I'm just going to say you're crazy. Give me the 1 out of 20. 100 times out of 100, I would pay more for it than the 1 out of 99. But the 1 out of 99 is the base rookie. Fine. I don't care. Like, this is literally the same card, except for it's rare and looks a lot nicer. So there. Huge Jordan autograph out of the Legends collection. This was a box collection that had just a few cards in it. You didn't know, who you were going to get. In this case, Michael Jordan, number 50, BGS 910, Pop 7, huge piece, huge Barry Sanders right here. Again, these cards all end tonight, guys. Check out this Jackie Robinson here. I was talking to somebody else about this card this weekend, or this week at the National. I still don't think people have really figured out like how cool it is that this card is from 1949. And we recently discovered that Jackie Robinson's 1948 Leaf card is actually from 49. Yes, the fact that both of those things are true means that this is, in fact, his rookie card, as it says right here in big, bold letters, rookie Fanatics is spot on this. Like, this is his rookie just as much as his Leaf is, but it's going to take us a while to get used to that because everybody's thought of the Leaf as a 1948 card for so long. This wasn't considered rookies for so long, and that's this card right here. This is for certain the more iconic one, but although it says 1948 here and it says it here, it was made the same year as this one. It was. That's just the case. A huge gold refractor here for LeBron. Remember, this is just his second year of gold refractors. The other one's the rookie card, and it's worth a lot more than this one. Maybe 10 times as much as this one, 20 times as much as this one. This one's out of 99, so there's a few more of them. It's a PSA 9, great grade. Looks like a newer case. I don't know if it's a reholder or not. They did make the Lighthouse case in the 6s, but looks really nice. It's a great looking card out of 99. Huge Jackie right here. One of the guys who I heard most talked about at the show for sure is Hulk Hogan, a BGS 9 with the autograph here. So many people want these cards in particular in PSA holders, and it makes you wonder when you look at that, does that one have a chance to cross? If this one does have a chance to cross, and if it has a high autograph grade, this could be a huge opportunity for somebody. A huge Steph right here. We don't see a lot of his flawless patch autographs hit. That one, the Ripken, big Ripken, that's where we're going to stop this week for Fanatics Collect. Again, those are the ones that end this week. I'm actually going to come back to Fanatics Collect here in just a second when here at the end of the episode to talk about next week's, which is usually how I do it, because that one will end on Sunday. But again, all of these cards that we just hit, let's do one more page. All of these cards do end on Monday, or do end tonight, I should say. Oh, an MJ Prism rookie. Yeah, 1985 Prism. Up this week. Don't see this one move very often. PSA 4 is just fine. Some of them are a lot higher graded, but man, this is one that I would love to save on the grade. The story here is the rarity. It is not the condition, although obviously higher condition ones are worth a lot more. To my naked eye, they don't actually often look very different. And what the real story is how rare the card is. 8.5 on the Hulk here. An Ohtani autograph, big card. Kobe's first or second best insert rookie card. Big Messi. This is the blue out of 199 from that first year. Prism. A Steph base paper gold. BGS 8. I've always loved this card. Always, always, always. Way rarer than the regular Topps rookie. Obviously sells for quite a bit more too, but way rarer. Way rare. Sort of, especially with that color match, you'd think maybe it would even be cooler. We talked about this one last week. PSA 10 on the Brady. Now it's finally going to end. We have talked about a bunch of these before. Kyrie's out for a year. That means his prices are really down. This is one of his best rookie cards, the NT out of 25. That year, Kyrie has one out at 99. His regular one's at a 99, I believe. Like 99% sure on that. A bunch of the cards that year are out of 199. I'm pretty sure Kyrie's at a 99. There's this version out of 25, and then there's a version out of 5, and then the Logo Man. And that was it for 2012, back in the days where we didn't have a zillion different options. Okay, let's go to hoodies. Hoodies has stuff ending throughout this week, including a Jokic Gold Prism. Jokic Gold Kaboom. Lots of talk about that this week. Lots of talk about that. This Kobe Bryant that we talked about last week, the autograph, in-person autographs, very, very cool card. This Griffey right here is freaking awesome. Love that one. Lots of big cards ending this week. See if anything else jumps out to us here. Lots of big cards ending this week, even though it's the week just after the National at hoodies. Okay, we'll close that. So, and then we have, what are we at? 53 minutes. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to show you guys real quick was, so I want to hit Golden. This is the Golden Weekly. We're going to go from Golden Weekly to Golden Weekly to Golden Elite. We're going to spend just a couple minutes on the Golden Weekly and then I'll spend the bulk of this time that we're looking at the auctions this week at the Elite. You've got a quick turnaround. You've got to adjust. A lot of people are like, I'm all carded out for a bit. You can't, I'm not telling you how to run your life, but like when you have a big auction like that, if you're the sort of buyer who's into those big auctions, don't let the Golden Elite pass you by real quick, because that's where you make mistakes. Okay, so the Golden Weekly. Caitlin NT. Again, NTs are out of this product called Rookie Royalty. I think in the end, people will just think of it as the Caitlin NT, 33 grand. A framed and signed Kobe autograph, number to 108. I don't know what the story is other than that it's UDA, the Upper Deck authenticated. And because it's in the frame, it presents exceptionally well. A lot of people like don't want to pay for framing, and I understand why. It's really expensive. When you see one that looks like this, it sort of makes sense. Already at $7,000. Another Caitlin NT. This one's out of 24. This one's out of 10. This one, they're both still in their cases. Why is this so different? I mean, 10 and 24 is different, right? 10's just the straight hollow gold. Although, is that in hollow foil? I guess it is. It says it is. These things on the side here don't look like it, but this stuff up here does. And this one's also hollow, right? So why is this 10% the price? I know it's not as rare, but 10%? That seems crazy. Flawless, Caitlin. Caitlin's just ruling the day at the top of all these. I had so many people come up to me and say, like, not so many. I had several people come up to me and say, man, Caitlin stuff, these people are going to lose so much. And I don't know if they're right. Some people I really respect think that all this Caitlin stuff is just going to fall apart. But, like, the world's changed, guys. Like, people love women's basketball, and it's because of her. People will immediately say, but her stats aren't, I don't care about her stats. Like, literally, when was the last time I really cared about a guy's stats or girl's stats? I don't care. But she hasn't won it. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The question is how culturally relevant she is. I've talked about this for years, but everybody wants to talk about stats. The stats don't matter. They don't matter. Stats don't matter. What matters is whether she is culturally significant, and there is almost no athlete in the world, maybe no athlete in the world. Maybe no athlete in the whole world is culturally relevant as Caitlin Clark. That is what matters. That's why the stuff's selling for so much. But it's all going to go down. You might be right. She might not stay culturally significant. I have no idea. But if the last couple of years are any indicator, and if the money spent on her from all the sponsors are any indicator, and if all the media is any indicator, you're wrong. She's going to be one of the most culturally significant athletes of the whole century. Maybe the most. I mean, I know it sounds crazy. Probably not the most. I mean, you've got like LeBron and Kobe, and it's hard to imagine her getting to that level, right? Messi, Kobe, LeBron. I don't think she gets there. But, like, I think she's got a very good chance to be the most culturally significant female athlete of all time. Does that sound crazy? Because she's changed the whole world. Anyway, maybe, again, I know that a lot of people disagree with me on that because of how you've approached being said, but she didn't even win this year. She doesn't even look good. She's not even making shots from deep. Like, her team's not good with her on the court. Like, she needs to be better. I get that. In the end, she needs to get to that point. But she has the thing that, like, nobody else has, right? She's actually changed a sport. She's Tiger Woods. Trademark to Brett McGrath for that reference. Okay. We keep going on the weekly, but we're going to stop there. Okay. Main part of this whole episode is this. We're now hitting the July Elite Auction for Golden. And boy, oh boy, is it an absolutely massive, massive auction. The Golden Elite is always their biggest auction of the month, except for when they do the Golden 100, which they do twice a year. So this is one of the 14 biggest auctions of the year for Golden. And it ends this week, just after the National. It's interesting timing. It's really interesting timing. And I'll tell you why I like it. Nobody else has anything huge going on this week. Nobody had anything huge going on last week. If you didn't spend your money at National and you're strapped and ready to go, this is the auction that you're looking at. We will start off with the Mickey Mantle 52 tops at a 7. Don't see those move very often in that grade. And then, of course, the card that will be the most discussed card in the auction. And if you follow me on Instagram, you know a post that I put out on the last Caitlin Clark logo woman autograph to sell. I put it next to the Anthony Edwards logo men auto from Flawless, because the Anthony Edwards was from Flawless. The Caitlin Clark was from Flawless. The Caitlin Clark was at 180,000, and the Anthony Edwards sold for 400 and something thousand. I put them up next together. I know I've talked about this 2 weeks in a row. Forgive me, I'll go quick. Put the two up next to each other, and I said, which one would you rather have? And in the comments, it was like, you're crazy. Why are you comparing these two? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, I think it's a good question. We'll see. And then on the last day, the Caitlin sells for way more than the Anthony Edwards. And all those people who were like, hey, you're crazy, of course it's Ant, are like, One guy even was really cool. He came back and he's like, yeah, I was wrong about this. My bad. Again, she's culturally significant. We've talked about it enough at this point, but this is the same thing, right? They made 3 logo woman Caitlin Clark RPAs. They made the NT, they made the Immaculate, and they made the Flawless. I personally like this inscription more than I like the one from last time. The question that you have to ask is, what would you rather have, Immaculate or Flawless? I think those are the 2 best looking. Interestingly, the 2 best looking of the Logoman autos historically have come out of Immaculate and Flawless. Flawless I like more in a lot of ways because they're always game used, but they weren't. This one wasn't for Caitlin Clark because WNBA is different than NBA. So none of them are game used. They're all really like her best cards or some of her best cards in existence. I like the inscription here more because it references the fact that it is her rookie year by putting ROY 24 on it, and it's from the 2024-2025 series. I like simpler inscriptions, so I do like it more from that perspective. You got to figure out which brand you like more. It's worth thinking about. Are we going to see the same sort of crazy, insane ending here? Or was it really just 2 bidders going at it? Does this thing go for like 300 grand? And we look back and go, oof, that Flawless shouldn't have gone so high. Or did somebody say to themselves, I'm getting out of this Flawless one now because I want to have a chance to get another one later for cheaper? And was that a bad decision? Could this sell for way more than 660? Nobody knows. Nobody has any idea. We sit here and we watch this and we go, oh, I think this is going to happen or that, and it's going to happen. And then we actually see what's going to happen. But nobody knows. So we'll see. Huge Babe Ruth in an 8. Boy, that's a huge grade on that card. That is a huge grade on that card. We've seen 9s of the same card sell for millions of dollars. An 8, one of the 4 poses, or one of the 4 cards from 33 Gaudy of Babe Ruth, is the most iconic cards ever, and in an 8, it's a huge grade. Definitely one of my favorite cards of the whole auction here. This is the 2006 Exquisite Scripted Swatches Duel of, again, the 2 most popular players in the game, MJ and Kobe, and both autographs just look phenomenal. I'm going to click on it so we can look a little bit closer, but that's definitely going to be one of my cards of the week. Big Caitlin here, 1 of 1 tag. We've spent a lot of time talking about Caitlin, so we're going to keep going. Big Mickey Mantle, 5. Wow. This Otani is cool. That's really cool. I think that's game used. I'll bet we don't know the jersey that it's from. We're going to look closer at that one, spend a few minutes on it. Really, another one of these 10s. We saw one of these sell recently, which is interesting because I think if I remember right, there's only like 21 of these in the world. One of the most iconic LeBron James rookies for certain, and especially in the black parallels, just fantastic. Another one of my favorite cards of the week. Does not have a great super multicolored patch on it, but it is a card that you just don't ever see hit auction. In the running for one of the, I would say, what the crazy exquisite collectors believe is like one of the best LeBron patch autos. It's one of the only exquisite autographs where he signs not in blue, but in gold. I love the old style autograph. I don't like the autograph that he changed it to after this. So this is the second to last year of exquisite. This is a year of emblems of endorsement that they numbered to 10. Yair posted a poll with comparing this with the 03 emblems of endorsement and asked which one do you like better. And last time I looked at the poll, it was split 50-50. This is an interesting question. Would you rather have this or the first year? I think some crazy exquisite collectors feel really strongly about the 03. I don't know, though. The 08s being the only gold, very different looking. Very different looking. I don't know. It's rarer and it's very different. And I always have loved gold on black. So that's worth thinking about. A mantle, PSA 9, 59 tops, huge piece. A Jordan, 7.5 star. High grade on that one. Haven't seen an 8, I don't think, sell for a while. At least I don't remember. And a couple items on this one that I definitely want to hit. A complete 52 set with a big 4 all graded. Boy, that's cool. You're not going to see those move very often. Complete 52 set. And then 2 of my favorite cards in the whole auction that are sitting down below the higher end stuff, but really going to be interesting ones to watch tonight. The Ichiro is always a big card. Always, whenever I see this one move in any grade, I'm always interested to watch it because This card, when it came out, this is the first year of Ultimate in baseball. They didn't make an Ultimate 2000. So Ultimate 2001 baseball, I'm like 99% sure on that. That was the first big year. But we sold, I was working at a card shop at the time. We sold a bunch of this. And I'm telling you, like, almost nobody got anything good. Like, it was such a tough product to get anything out of. And Ichiro was like the main sale of the whole thing. This card right here, it's like the main sale of the whole thing. Rookie number to 250. At the time, that was like the rarest idea for a rookie basically ever in baseball. This is the same year as his famous Bowman Chrome. So it's like his pro rookie card out of the highest end product out of Upper Deck. But the real story here is that it's a PSA 10 and it's a Pop 3. And historically, we've seen this card sell for a ton of money. It's interesting because Ichiro was like this all-time great, and he just does not always get the love that you'd think that he would. When I think about like most iconic baseball players of the 2000s, I mean, it's like, I think like Ichiro goes head to head with Trout personally, like as far as iconic players, because when he came over, it was such a big story. It actually sort of went beyond baseball. I'm not sure how much Trout went beyond baseball. He's very known and loved amongst the world of baseball, but like I is not, as a non-baseball fan, I feel like Ichiro got more attention and love. And then obviously went on to have this incredible career. So that's a huge piece. And then the Brady. Okay, so 2012 is the first year of Prism, obviously. Everybody knows that. And I think clearly that's the Tom Brady Gold Prism card. I think this is probably second. And the fact that there's only 2 of these in a PSA 10, how much does that PSA 10 matter? How great is it how great is it, not being the 2012, but being like the second card? I don't know what we're going to see from this one, but I do think that there's something to this idea of like people putting together gold runs, right? That's something that has been done for a long time. I'm not like saying something really novel here. People have been doing a lot of these things since like 2000, and Brady has a lot of years of them. This is one of the really key years, especially if you're a high grade PSA guy. Like, there's 2 of them. It's a huge piece. Already at over 60 grand with buyer's premium. I have no expectations for what this will do, but it's going to be interesting to watch. It's like a secondary ultra important Brady at the highest level. Secondary in that it's not the first one. Okay, let's hit both of these, or all 3 of these real quick. So Ovechkin, we saw his 8 of 8 move for really a historic number. A historic number a couple of months ago, and maybe even like 3 or 4 months ago now. Here's a copy that is a Pop 1 PSA 9. Does that mean there's no 10s? I'm going to go over to Gem Rate real quick. We're going to find out what we need to know on this Ovechkin. And I'm literally going to come into here. I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing. Put it here. I'm going to put Universal Search. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go Ovechkin, the Cup, 2005. Sorry, my keyboard's not super accessible. Okay. So the Cup autograph patch at 179. So here we go. PSA has graded 11. There is 110 and 0 9s. That doesn't make any sense because I'm looking at what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong, guys? This one's at a 99. What am I doing wrong? Nope. Look. There's 5 here. This says Pop 1. This card is out of 99. It's number 179. It's the base card. And it says 2005 Ovechkin autograph patch number 179. 124 have been graded. 11 have been graded by PSA. 1 of them is gem mint. 5 of them are mint. How are 5 of them mint? And this says that only 1 of them, that there's only 1. Am I crazy? Guys, will you tell me if I'm crazy? Let me look at this. Among a scant total of only 4 copies of piece recorded in PSA DNA census reporting. Well, but this isn't a PSA DNA copy. Okay, maybe I'm going crazy. Maybe the thing's wrong. We're going to get to the bottom of it, though. I'm going over to the PSA site. I'm going to enter in the code 472599996. Okay. When I do that, well, I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I sure feel stupid because I bet you guys know and I don't. Check it out. Pop 1, none higher. The Golden's right. That's what it says. But where am I going wrong here, guys? I got to spend a second with it because I'm kind of losing my mind here. It says 124 and PSA says 11, 1 gem mint, 5 nines, and I don't see how that's possible. So if I click here on PSA and I click on their 1 copy, let's see if we can find out what's going on here. 2005 the cup. We're going to come here. We're going to type in Ovechkin. And we're going to find 179. Gosh, I'm confused, guys. I mean, look at this. Like this says what gem rate says. There are 4 nines. There's 110. And then on the PSA DNA side for Ovechkin, there's the other 4. One of them's a 9. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. So usually when something is in the PSA DNA side, it has a card grade and then an autograph grade. This does not have that. This just has a card grade. And it's not that this card hasn't been re-imaged because look, this is it right here. It's the same card with the same cert without anything weird going on. Okay, so there's no autograph grade. And when you enter the code in, you get that it's a Pop 1, which is the same as if it was on the PSA DNA side. So the PSA web, just for those of you who don't really understand, the PSA website, you have 2 different things. You have the card as it's been graded, and then you have the cards that have been graded by PSA DNA, which includes the autograph and the card. I feel like I'm probably just missing something stupid. But this to me just looks like it should be a card that's just on the regular website because there is no autograph grade. There's nothing that even says like authentic auto. This looks like a regular card grade to me. But it's not, I guess, because see, but this is what's weird. Auto grade not available. Okay. So what's the difference between this and a regular card being graded then? And then if that's the case, shouldn't it be in the Pop Report piece that just shows, that's over here that says, I'm gonna have to talk to Gem Rate and see if they have any idea if I'm missing something. If you guys know what's wrong here, what I can't figure out, let me know. But succinctly, I would just say, to me, this is a Pop 4 with 1 higher. But when you enter that code in, man, Golden's exactly right. It says that. It says Pop 1 with none higher. So I don't know. Take that for what it's worth. We just spent way too much time on that. But I miss dumb things all the time. So I'm probably missing something here, but I have no idea what I'm missing, and we're going to move on. So we gave it way too much time. So, but very cool piece. Very cool piece. Let's go back here. Okay, we know what the Steph 1 of 1 of this card sold for. This is the 1 of 5. How will it compete? It will not compete. I can't imagine that it will compete with the 1 of 1. That wouldn't make any sense. But what we learned last time that the 1 of 1 was up was that this image with an autograph on it, and in this case, it's also a 10-10. Boy, it's something worth watching. Okay, let's hit the 2015 Immaculate Logoman of LeBron James. This one's numbered 3 out of 3. When did he win a championship with the Cavs? Do you guys know? Let's see. Was it 2016? LeBron James Cavs championship year. Was it this year? It was this year. How about that, guys? How about that? Oh, my goodness. My big head is in the way. So let's get my big head out of the way. So this, yeah, that's way better. Okay. This LeBron is an Immaculate Era logo man. It is graded authentic. It is awesome. It is beautiful. It is numbered out of 3. It is from a championship season. I don't know that the patch is from a championship season. I know that the card is from a championship season. Maybe both. I don't know how to tell on the patch. Usually we can't find that out. Sometimes we can. Usually we can't. Logo man, I don't know how you can tell on that, but definitely worth recognizing. One of the most interesting Jordans up this week for sure. I was hoping to do a little bit of content on this. I might not have a chance. I may run out of time, but this is the Fleer Retro buyback from 2012. One of the craziest things that Upper Deck ever did was buy back a bunch of Jordan cards and have him sign the cards, different colored pens that would sort of work with the card. This one's awesome. And I want to talk about that one more in just a second, so I'm going to make that one big as well. So we got a bunch of cards here to talk about. I love this Brady. I've always loved it. It's one of his rarest rookie cards. I don't mind him in his sweats here in his pre-draft stuff. That's when he was a nobody. And I think it's really cool. Lamar Jackson, is it his best card? No, this is the insert. This is the insert. So this isn't the parallel to his rookie card. It's the insert. It is still an absolutely huge piece of rookie year card. The NFL shield with the autograph. Huge piece. Some big cases, 2018 National Treasures, 2003 Ultimate Collection. Some big cases there. Big cases. Be really fun to open those. I would never, ever have the guts in a million years. Kobe, huge Kobe patch auto. Boy, you don't see that one move very often. He just doesn't have a lot of patch autos as nice as that one out of Flawless. It'll be a fun one to watch. Could be a better patch, but really awesome card. Jordan 98, SP Authentic, Sign of the Times, one of his early Bulls autographs, a beautiful card. Mahomes, Flawless RPA, serial numbered out of 10. Very nice piece. A big Jordan rookie autograph right here. Cards authentic. The autograph's a 9. I do want to look at that one. That's one that's sort of important to look at. The Lamine Yamal 2024 Superfractor from Chrome. A Koufax 8 rookie card. This Jordan. I do love this Jordan. I haven't seen one of these sell before, I don't think. I think the autograph might hurt that one a little bit, but you might not get a chance at that one again. So I want to hit that one. Oh, this Kobe PS or BGS 10 is really interesting. Actually, I might be doing some content on that one too. So I'm going to sort of skip that one because you'll be able to hear my thoughts in a reel if you really want to. Whoa, look at this Caitlin with the piece here. Sort of a little bit of the logo woman, I think. Well, that's really cool. Okay, let's get to, there's 32 pages. We're not going to make it to 32. Let's make it to 5. Should we do 5? Let's do 5. Oh, the Chronology MJ. This is the MJ version, number 25, I think. Yep, number 25. Look at this. 3. Is it 3 Dookies? No. Oh, this is cool. Okay, I got to look at that one too. Got to look at that one. Pad Paradasha. Sorry, I was thinking about something else for a second. Cooper Flag. That's a big piece. A gold LeBron. Oh, my goodness. I always feel like I missed out on this. This is one of the nicest parallels ever. Or excuse me, one of the nicest inserts ever. The Kobe Millennium Man. I've owned 5 or 6 cards from the set, and I always just look at them and sort of in awe. They're just some of the most beautiful cards ever made. I forget what this is called, right? I know the word, but the movement in the background of the card, right? Similar to like a jambalaya, but this one's almost like translucent too. Like you can sort of see through it with like the basketballs in the background. Kobe flying through the air. Like jambalaya, but have some elements. It's actually kind of cooler. It's rarer than jambalaya. It came later, and it's missing Jordan from the set, and it's not nearly as iconic. But it's got a lot going for it, and it's one of the best Kobe inserts, especially Kobe only, not MJ in the set, but Kobe only inserts ever. There's like, I don't know how many cards in the set, but my point is that Jordan's not in it. Aaron Judge BGS 10. It's a big piece. Kobe dual patch out of Flawless. It's obviously big card, autograph card. I don't know why it sometimes doesn't go up to the top. A huge Michael Jordan in a BGS 9. I'm telling you guys, the fact that all of these are sold so close together is going to hurt the prices, though. Some of these are going to sell for a really good price, and then we're going to get to another point again where we're not going to see any for months and months like happened last time. But now we're seeing a bunch of them sell, and that can be hurtful. It can hurt cards' value when they all get sold real quick. So if you're a buyer, it might be the best time ever. I love Letterman. Kobe it's at 13 grand. The T and Bryant, third year of Immaculate. Big Jordan here, bigger because it's a PSA 10. Patrick Mahomes, love this card in person. Lots of holofoil, really beautiful. It's not the parallel. It costs a fraction of the price. MJ, scripted swatches. There's not very many of those. He definitely has a few years. I think it's 5. So that puts it, at 115 total? I think it might be 4 years. Wemby Deca Gold. Only a PSA 8. Might save some money on that one because of the low grade. Here's another Ovechkin. This one's PSA 8. We're not going to look up the pop. There's another one, guys. BGS 8.5 on this Jordan. Watch that. You might save some money. Bill Russell, Exquisite Titleists. One of the most exclusive of all of Exquisite's inserts. Serial number to the player's number of championships won. Holofoil around the championship window and around the player. I've only seen a couple of these in person ever, including the Magic Johnson out of 5. They're beautiful. You can tell my voice is still not totally recovered from National, which is not shocking. Boy, did I lose my voice. It was crazy. I love this Franz. I don't think it's a rookie, though. What year is Franz a rookie? I should know this. I think it's before 2023, though. I think. I don't know for sure. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see a rookie symbol, but I do want to check. I do love the 75th anniversary, though. I love that. Okay, we're going to do one more page. We're going to go 5 pages, then we're going to call this. We're going to call this after that. Okay, so on page 5. So Gunnar Henderson to 5. Messi. Lamine Yamal, that is a sweet jersey. Love the number 27. I am the real 27 guy. Of course, I like the number 27. Gold Michael Jordan autograph here out of UD Black is really pretty. Anthony Edwards logo man. The Caitlin Clark, what's this one called? Cherry Blossoms, really cool. I've always loved this Manning. Obviously, a super iconic card. An 8.5 on that's actually a really great grade. I don't know if the autograph's graded a 10. Look closely, see if it still is a 10. Big Reggie here. Really a huge Reggie. Really a huge Reggie. Probably the second biggest Reggie Miller in parallel. That's what I think. I think that's the second biggest one. I think that's a bigger card than the PMG Champ. It's probably third. I think this one's significantly bigger than that. It's like half the production, and obviously Credentials isn't quite the name PMG's is, but like, you know, he has 150 PMGs from 97, and he has 81 Credentials. About half as me. And this one's the rarer one. Obviously, you take the green over this. The green sold for 130 grand, though. This one's at 9 grand. PSA 10 without peel refractor of Kobe Bryant. Very rare card. Fun one to watch. BGS 9 Jordan rookie card. One of Kobe's few scripted swatches. I love that card. Black border on the Bowman 48 Steph. One of his best rookie cards, interestingly. Kobe on sticker, LeBron dual auto patch out of UD Black. Huge card. Another huge Reggie right here. And then, you know what? What the heck? Let's do one more page. We're already 23 minutes over. We always go over. Why stop? Why stop now, right? Why stop now when we're having fun? 1 of 1 MJ, a dual auto of the 2 most collected players ever. You got to love the LeBron here with the initials there on the patch. I'm sort of mailing in this last row. Sorry, guys. A gold gold Kobe. Somehow Spinatron just bought the black of this card. I don't know how he got it, but I'm impressed, man. That's a huge piece. Wish I would have had a chance at it, man. Huge, huge, huge card. Okay, let's look at each of these cards individually. Jordan autograph here. I want you guys to notice something. I love that this card is, you notice the scope pattern in the background. One of the few first times they use the scope pattern. It has a matte finish in front of that. And MJ still very deliberately, man, he took his time. Look at that. He signs over it in 1, 2, 3, 4 places, and you only notice when you're really scrolling. Looks like the Seekers right here is going from matte to sort of like that foil, and so it doesn't pick up super well there, but that is what it is. Numbered 1 of 1. It's a huge insert with a huge Jordan autograph on it, and you can see it's numbered 1 of 1, and then there's the sticker on the back, and then here are these pieces that also come with it to sort of describe what it is. And that number right there, 3362, matches this number right here. I like cards in general that are not buybacks. I like that they have printed on them that they're autographs and there's no weird sticker business. Having said that, this is, of all of the buyback sets of all time, one of the most interesting because it combines the craziness of the 90s inserts with like the love of Jordan autographs. And it's really cool. Just want to see the autograph on this Jordan real quick. Really interesting. Really a thin blue. Doesn't get lost. I mean, you have to see it close. It's hard to see it from there, so it gets lost a little bit for sure. But I love that it gets into the side. I always want to see the blue ones get into the side. I wish this one got there a little bit more. I love that it gets down here. It might be nice if it was thicker, but I'll tell you what, when you look at it real close, it's a pretty neat looking Jordan autograph. Looks different. I wonder when it was signed. Might be worth looking into the details here to see if the Golden has added any interesting content there. It's one of my favorite cards in the whole auction, and that's going to surprise some people because that autograph is not ideal. It's just not. You can see it's been graded as a 9 without the autograph being graded because the autograph is not a 10. It's not a 10 from an eye appeal perspective either. It's too dark, but like let's not bury the lead here. This is one of the autograph patch sets, like one of the best ones ever. Corners 5.5, edges 8. So look at those corners real close. Obviously, they're not great. Fairly recently graded. But yeah, like I think that this set became interesting to a lot of us because there's only 10. It looks really nice, and it's Ultimate Collection. And Ultimate doesn't have a lot of autograph patches over the years. The autograph patch set, especially this, because this is like during the Exquisite era, the autograph patch sets of the years are obviously all from Exquisite, right? Well, there's a couple of sets here and there. Some are in like SP Authentic, some are in Ultimate that are really beloved, but aren't Exquisite. This is one of them. And given that there's only 10 Michael Jordans, you will see this exact copy and you will hear people say, man, it's a shame that Jordan autograph's not bluer. Man, it's a shame it didn't, it saw too much light. And it is a shame. And I will immediately follow it up with good luck finding another one. The reason that this one's at auction is because the autograph's not perfect, I would suspect. I can't remember the last time one of these moved with a decent autograph. I can't remember the last time one of these moved, period. So it's pretty cool to see this one up. You'll see LeBron every now and then. You really don't see Kobe very often, and you never see MJ. That's my take on this card. All right. That might be one of my 5 favorites of the week. Yes, I'm still looking at my 5 favorites of the week. I know I haven't really focused on that thus far in this episode, but I'm going to put these two right here at the front of the line. Okay. We'll get out of this Jordan rookie autograph. Okay, I actually really like this card a lot. So this is a pre-rookie or an XRC for probably the 3 guys that are being the most looked at in this draft. So at 1, you had Cooper Flagg. At 2, you had Harper. And then who was 3? Oh, my goodness. Knippel's 4. 3 was Edgecombe. And 4 was Ace Bailey. And those are the 3 guys that everybody is sort of these are the 3 that were like the ones that people were like, okay, how good are these guys going to be? So let's talk about what this is. Bowman University had, while these 3 guys were all in college, them sign some stickers, and then those stickers were applied to this card. This is a superfractor, as you can see from the design and from the label. And you can see, I think you can see it's a 1 of 1 somewhere, but I don't see it here. Where is it? Was it on the front and I just missed it? Yep, I just missed it. It's right here. What's interesting is they also have these cool like inscriptions. Go Blue Devils. I don't know what this is. GA Player of the Year. I don't know. And then here's like an Instagram handle or something. I don't know. It'd be cool to figure those things out. But for each of these three guys with superstar potential, to have them all on the same card. Again, not the top 3 picks, but and it couldn't have been. They didn't know when this was made before they were drafted. It's a really interesting, cool piece. And then I just wanted to see if there was a rookie logo on here. I don't think this is rookie. I should know right off the top of my head when Franz is a rookie. I think it's the year before, or maybe even the year before that. But there's no rookie here. But it's the 75th anniversary. It's going to be game used because it's flawless. Yep, game worn. So that's really cool. All right, we hit those things. Now let's hit. Yeah, I love this card. I love it. Both Kobe and MJ, they both knocked it out of the park here. A lot of times autographs on patches don't work out well, but both Kobe and MJ took some pride in signing that one. That absolutely is going to be a top 5 card of the week for me. And, the other, oh, yeah. Holofoil, serial numbered. Please, for the love of all that is good, put all 1 of 1s in holofoil. That's the way it should be. It's a beautiful card. Some people don't like the streak. I don't care. The holofoil around the window is perfect. Does it say game used on the front? I want it to. It does. There we go. Game used memorabilia. Now, it's not going to tell us the game that it's from, I'm sure, but it is game used. The memorabilia contained in this card is a game used piece of equipment or uniform from an official game from the featured athlete, but may not be from the event depicted. This is pretty good language because what it's telling you is that's game used for sure. Definitely game used. And not only is it game used, it is game used by Shohei. It was signed on card. Yeah, that's cool. It's really, really cool. It's really, really, really cool. We're going to come back here. We're going to click on this. We're going to click on page 1 because there is one card that I should have included in my top 5 this week potentially, but did not. And yeah, I'm going to put it there. Of course, I'm going to put it there. It's the Caitlin Clark card, right? It is. It's a huge, huge, huge piece. Okay, before we end this, we still got to hit Fanatics Collect, and we still got to hit Card Hobby. I'm going to start putting this up here. Okay, Card Hobby. Put that there. And okay, this is maybe one of the 5 favorites a week. My problem right now is all my 5 favorites are at the Golden Elite, which is not a shock. Their auction's just so good, right? Okay, this is the stuff that ends in 6 days from now. Huge Duncan Go Nuts PSA 10. Huge Tom Brady SGC 7 on the Bowman Chrome Refractor. This is like not the rarest Jordan, but it's a lot rarer than this card. I'd rather have this card, especially in a 10. In a 10, it's a lot rarer, is what I meant to say. Another big Jordan card, though, the PSA 10 on the Scoring Kings. The Noise Boys, when we saw a PSA 10 of this Noise Boys go absolutely bonkers, and the market's moved massively. This isn't a PSA 10, though. It's BGS 9.5. How will it compare? We will find out. Okay, I want to hit this one. I want to hit that. Kobe, we'll talk about that one for a second. Okay, I love this Steph. I love this Steph Curry. It's one of his first autographs, giant autograph on it. We're going to hit a couple more and then a couple more pages and then hit Card Hobby and then we'll be done. And we're going to make sure we talk about this card right here. Man, we're being slow right now. Why is stuff moving so slow? Sorry, guys. Cracked Ice, Caitlin. You don't see this card in a 10 very often, do you? Let's look at the pop report on that guy. I know it's not like crazy rare, but I'd like to see it. Okay. A 2013 LeBron. All right, let's do page 3. and slow. Bronco 1.5. Not one that you're always expecting to see at Fanatics Collect Weekly. That's down here a ways. It's going to be an interesting one to watch. Let's look at the eye appeal on this one. Talk about how good a condition that one's in. All right, and this Vince Carter right here. I want to talk about that one too. Okay, we got a good number of things to talk about. Let's hit one more page, and then we'll be done with Fanatics Collect for the week. All right, sorry. Better keep talking, or you guys are going to be like, what are you doing, Adam? Oh, Kobe refractor? Kobe chrome refractor? PSA 9? Guys, we haven't seen a lot of these in auction, like in the weekly. Like, that's sort of shocking to see that there. Big Kobe auto you don't see very often either. 2002 Marks of Distinction. Now, this Merino is just a thing of beauty, though. The first year flawless in football, and that thing is designed amazingly well. Just a beautiful, beautiful card. Okay, let's hit a few of these cards individually here that I think are really interesting. So, let's look at these two. This is going to be a really interesting comparison to watch this week. Kobe in his his iconics. I can't say the word iconic all of a sudden. Kobe in his iconic Kaboom from 2018, just a beloved set because this is the first set where he also appears as a gold or in a gold, and this is a 9.5 and it's a true 9.5. But how's it going to compare against the 2013 LeBron, the very first year of the Kabooms? So there's two things to compare here: the first year versus 2018, the first year that they did golds, and LeBron versus Kobe. And what I want to hit real quick is let's look at gem rate and let's see what gem rate can sort of tell us about this. I think I've got gem rate still open over here. Yep. So what I want to do is I want to check. Let's compare. Let's do Kobe 2018 Kaboom. And when we do that, we get 193 total graded. Okay. Remember, this one is a 9.5 too. Okay. And then we have LeBron. So remember the number 193. LeBron 2013 Kaboom. 169. So comparatively speaking, there are fewer of the LeBrons than there are of the Kobe. The LeBron, though, is in a lower grade. It's an 8. But the LeBron is a first-year card. Which of these two cards would you rather have? I'll tell you where it gets even more interesting. There are far more LeBron Kabooms that have been produced to date than there are Kobe's. And at some point, people are just like, I just want a Kobe Kaboom. Or I just want a LeBron Kaboom. But the LeBron predates the Kobe. So there's all sorts of factors working in here. Which would you rather have? I'm interested to hear. Which one of the two cards would you rather have? I really like the LeBron because it's first year and because it's Miami Heat and he just does not have a lot of really key Heat stuff. But I love the Kobe because I think it's a great image and it's a great version of this card. All right. So there's that. And then there's this Jordan. I just wanted, for my own reference, I'm going to go here and I'm going to go 1988 Jordan Fleer. And it's going to be this card right here. Looks, it's less than half as many. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the sticker. This is the All-Star. It's not less than half as many. There's actually a ton of them. There's 25,237 that have been graded, and 387 of them are gems for a 2% gem rate. So it's a great piece. It's a great piece. Not quite as rare as I thought it was going to be, but it's a great piece. Okay, and then this Nagurski. So why is this Nagurski a 1.5? Is the 1.5 the right grade for this Nagurski? The card presents really well. You have to really, like, if you hold this card from a foot away from you, it looks almost like you want it to. The color is fantastic. The centering's just a little bit off, but it's really pretty nice. Nothing really stands out. This is one where you have to scroll in to see, oh, there's some real creasing going on here. You can see creasing in here, creasing in here, creasing over here. If you look at the back, you're going to see almost no creasing, right? You don't see it as well because you can only see it really from the color. And in hand, you probably can see it, and you can see some stuff's going on in here. But there's a reason that this has a top 30% eye appeal sticker, even though it's a 1.5. The reason is pretty simple. The reason is pretty simple. It looks great from here, and as you get closer to it, you're going to notice those other things. But for a 1.5, this presents super well. And then lastly, I've always said that from the 1999 Mystique Raise the Roof set, I've always said that this is the second best card in the set next to the Kobe. The Kobe's the best card in the set. There's no question about it, and it's one of his best insert cards. But this image of Vince is fire. It's just awesome. It's Vince flying through the air. I guarantee you in this nice PSA holder, it presents incredibly well, especially because that back of the card refracts. Fleer didn't do a lot of, they didn't have refractors per se. Fleer didn't have refractors per se, but they did have cards like this that refract. And in 1999, there's not a better looking insert. It's one of the best looking inserts ever made. And I think the only thing that really holds back the set is that it's like from the era that's just after Jordan, so it doesn't have Jordan. But like, I'd rather have the Vince than the Shaquille O'Neal or the Kevin Garnett or the Tim Duncan. I'd rather have the Vince Carter because aesthetically, I just think it's one of the nicest cards ever made. All right, let's finish this off today with Card Hobby. I didn't get close to my 1 hour, which is not a shock. I never do. Let's finish this off, then let's do the top 5. Okay. Card Hobby, we're going to hit the, let's see, auctions. We're going to sort by highest. And when we do that, we will see, oh, I still haven't gotten there. We will see that we have some huge cards. Whoa, we start out with a huge Kobe Bryant from 2016. I don't even need to look at the slab. Why do I know it's from 2016? Because it's got that black ink. Really a cool patch. Love the hollow foil. Just a great piece. Another Kobe, LeBron autograph out of chrome. Is that a 101? It looks kind of like a super refractor. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. We'll click on that one and see. Boy, now here's a Kobe you don't see every day. That is another one we're going to talk about real quick. A couple of really cool cards at Card Hobby. Card Hobby always has huge stuff, though, especially here at the top. They always have some really, really big cards. The Logo Man, couple of Logo Man, couple of big cards. Let's do one more page. Oh, I love this Lux auto of Kobe auto patch. You don't see that one very often either. That's a really cool card. All right. Okay, let's hit these 3 cards that we pulled up. So I wanted to see if this is the Superfractor. Gosh, it looks like it is. Superfractor LeBron autograph. That's huge. Now people are like, what's Skylight? Skylight signatures. Yeah, and that's what people don't know. Oh man, the autograph's on card too, though, it looks like. That's pretty cool, guys. On card LeBron autograph, Superfractor. Card that you probably didn't know existed, but it has a lot of things going for it. And then, of course, the thing that you've got to ask is, how are people going to view 2024 Chrome after they start making NBA license stuff? And people will tell you what they think about that. I don't think anybody really knows. If the 2024 Chrome stuff or 2025 Chrome stuff ever becomes highly collectible, do people also just want it like stuff that's in the run? Like, are they going to make a Skylight signature set in 2025? A Superfractor set? I love this Kobe, though. This is going to be tough to keep off of my top 5 list because this is the first year of Immaculate. So during the first year of Immaculate, they make this all-star lineage set with autographs and then the number of the number of all-star games that the guy has. So Kobe's featured in his West uniform here, his all-star uniform, perfect autograph, numbered to the number of times he's made all-star. He had made all-stars too at that point. It's just really cool. Move it over here. And then lastly, this isn't hollow foil, is it? I don't think it is. I think Lux was generally regular foil, but I liked Lux because it was like a one-time product. They made some of these autograph patches that were really rare. This is the same image, I believe, off of one of his years of Prism. Is it 2018? I should know, but I don't. Number 2 out of 10. The autograph's really nice. Yeah, I really love that. Okay, let's go hit our top 5 of the week, and then we'll get you guys out of here. Thanks for sticking with me this long. To those of you who said, I really do listen to every minute of the thing. I watch the whole thing. I don't know if I believe that, but I know some of you do because I can see in the numbers. Thank you for listening to the whole thing. Okay, let's look at our top 5. So we've got the Jordan Ultimate Commitment. We have the Duel. We have the Caitlin. That's number 3. We have the Awesome Shohei, number 4. And then we have the Kobe Lineage and the Jordan, number 5. Wow. How am I going to cut 2 of these? This is going to be the hard part. It's always hard to cut. Is it 2 or 1 that I need to cut? The Thrill Seekers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. So I just need to cut 1. How do I cut 1? Gosh, this is going to be tough. I'm going to cut this one. Not because I want to, but because this image isn't going to show up as well on my thumbnail. Card hobby images sometimes are a little bit rough because they're taken by individuals rather than auction houses. So let's go with top 5. Number 5 this week is going to be, I'm going to put this one right here. It's 1 of 1. It's aesthetically as nice as any of the cards, and I love it, but I'm not a baseball guy as much as I'm basketball, so I'm going to go that number 5. I'm going to go number 4. The Ultimate Commitment because of the faded autograph, but if I was likely to win one of them, it would probably be this one. Number 3, I'm going to go with this duel right here. It is fantastic. It is one of the best duels of these that you guys that you're ever going to see. Number 2, I'm going to go with this Jordan, numbered 1 out of 1, the Thrill Seekers. I love everything about it, but number 1's got to go to the Caitlin Clark, being one of her best cards in existence. Guys, again, it was great to see each of you that I saw at the National. It was absolutely fantastic. Thanks for listening today. Thanks for watching, subscribing. Please subscribe. I love every time I see a new subscriber pop up on my YouTube. It's not very often. It's not like Instagram. All right, I know what I'm doing on Instagram to some degree. I think maybe not. I don't know. I have no idea what I'm doing here on Instagram. But thank you guys for watching. Sorry, it was almost 2 hours. I just can't get things. I just can't shorten things. I'm the worst at it. But thank you for watching. And until next time, happy collecting.